back at you with part 2. It's the Dogman Show.
Now, I'll tell you this. Things have been getting more interesting, so we've often had to break off into part 2s. However, this one is so interesting, we might have to even do a part 3. You never know. Just for you out there in the viewership. Now, when we last left off, we were talking about people being sticklers for how you say things, and you have to be really mindful of what you say at a work site and various other places. Just like people act like snotty substitute teachers. Can you?
This is true.
When you ask if you can get a drink of water, they say, I don't know, can you? It's what, may I get a drink of water? Or something along those lines. But, yeah.
So, sometimes you have to deal with individuals like that, but
You were
fortunately for me though, I don't have to deal with something like that because I have somebody who is a proper teacher, I guess you could say. And once again, everybody has their own opinion, perspective on that. So yeah. But what I was saying before we left off on this last piece is that I did ask my uncle at one point when we were traveling from one job to another, and you get that moment and you get that time to actually communicate and ask questions. I asked him, what would you have done if you would have never came to America?
Which is a big fucking question.
And if you never would have done what you started doing today. And he said that he would have joined the military in Mexico.
Damn. That sounds pretty cool.
And I feel like with that kind of just like altogether puts my uncle together as like who you would perceive him or who you would see him as. Yeah. Oh, so that's the first question I asked him. But then my uncle also is a person who looks at life and says, I'm going to live it to the fullest before I'm gone and out of here, because he understands it really well. He tells me, you never know when it's going to be your turn, meaning you never know when it's time to clock out.
Yeah, all that Balamorgula shit.
So I asked him one time when we were passing some trains and there was a bunch of graffiti on them, and he knows that I like all that stuff. And we were talking about it, and I just asked him straight up. I was like, so if you were a graffiti artist, what would be your name? Because I explained to him how people get their names or how they choose their names.
A moniker, pseudonym.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what he told me? Popeye.
Nice.
That's what I said. I was like, nice.
I was gonna have to fight 2 or 3 people for the name though, because I know that there's Popeyes out there.
Probably.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought that was pretty cool though too.
It's cool that he had a name ready.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's baller to know that other people get lost in their thoughts too.
Well, he listened to all this music that we were making recently.
Yeah?
Yeah, because he's a person of sound too. He doesn't necessarily care for what type of music it is. He even told me, he's like, I don't care what kind of music it is, as long as it sounds good, I'll listen to it.
Nice. Well, speaking of open-minded, here's an odd question for you. What do you think is the coolest way to die?
Jesus. Well, it might not be the coolest, but it probably will be the most satisfying. And I always take after Tyrion Lannister and his example. Fat and wealthy on my own land, watching my own sons grovel over my inheritance.
I thought it was something about, fat, drunk, and with a whore. No, the Empo was just good for a good line. You could go through his whole catalog and he had like 30, 40 different like, hey, that's a pretty badass line. What's his name? The spider guy, the bald eunuch spider dude. He's like, I hate fucking magic users. They cut my dick and balls off. He had a real reason to.
He had that whole dynamic.
Yeah, he was a vendetta candidate. For those of you playing the home game, we're talking about George R.R. Martin's medieval-esque, like fantasy thriller. Game
well, that's
of
why
Thrones.
he was so against Stannis.
Stannis Baratheon.
Yeah, gaining the throne because he had the red woman by his side, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why he was all for Tyrion's plan when they were, you know, doing the investigating work of how they were gonna save King's Landing when they were gonna invade and shit, which turned out to be a pretty successful fucking counterattack.
I remember the
One that I have never really seen in any story, heard in any story, or seen in any movie, or never you would have never expected.
fantastic.
But yeah.
No, that's Game of Thrones is popular for a reason. I didn't see what all the fuss was about until I came around later, and I still have yet to finish it. I heard all this shit about like the Starbucks cup and how poorly some of the last season was made.
I mean, excuse me. Fortunately for me, I never started watching until way later. So I was never a part of the hype. I was never a part of, you know.
It already died. Same thing with like Harry Potter. It already died
it-
down by the
yeah,
time I gave it a chance.
exactly. So I was just able to just run through the whole series and see what everybody's, well, you know, what made everybody's balls tickle. You know what I mean?
What do you think is the lamest or worst way to die?
Well,
Having to fuck the red woman in her normal form, and then like ghoul.
I was watching a MODOK recently, and he dies.
Having to fuck Modoc.
You know, he dies on the toilet like I don't know how many different ways, but like his future self tells him like you need to get comfortable because there's like a variation of ways that you die on the toilet. And, you know, I started thinking about it. I was like, yeah, that is a pretty fucked up way to die. You know, like on the toilet. So yeah, I'll just go with the classic on the toilet death. You know what I mean?
That's how the king died on this throne. Shit.
Pride cometh before the fall. No.
That's so gross.
I mean, it wasn't that the whole point. Jesus Christ.
Cheese and rice. What would, if you could, what would you make against the law? This is a big one. Everyone goes the other way.
You know, damn.
What would you outlaw if you could? Nice. Got the gears moving. That's how.
See, I'm not a politician, or I'm not.
No, it could be anything.
Yeah,
it
but
could be just wearing red. It could be fucking wearing blue. It could be fucking calling.
yeah, but see, then
whatever.
it goes back to the
Anything.
whole concept of like freedom, like, you know what I mean. So if I declare this freedom, and then I declare this against the law, you know, that kind of like reflects on
Two
like
separate questions. Don't get your dick stuck in the outlet.
yeah.
We're moving on
Fine.
to a different question.
Now?
No.
Oh, we're on the current question.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the other ones. They're isolated. Like a lunchable.
Well, aren't all the bad laws already against the law? So, like, if me just adding to that, isn't that just, like, more laws?
I think you misunderstand the question. Like, if you don't like the way people look in, like, Crocs, like those weird rubber gardening shoes,
I guess I've never cared enough to fucking think that way. You know what I mean?
Or fucking
To like outlaw something like that. Like, I mean, I guess wear whatever the fuck or do whatever the fuck you want, but as long as you're not fucking with me, like, you know what I mean? Okay, then there you go. Don't fuck with me. There you go. That's my law.
People bothering you is against the law.
Yeah, bothering me is against the law. How about that? Do whatever the fuck you want, but as long as you ain't fucking with me, you or her ass will get prosecuted to the fucking to
the
whatever.
full extent of these nuts.
Yeah, then whatever.
What are your thoughts on vegetarian and veganism?
All that's some good shit.
A life without meat.
No. You're not letting me finish. I said that's good shit. I'm all for like health and all that other stuff, but I am gonna throw my own little twist and my own little mixture in there. You know, just because you have all the secrets, or if you have all the techniques, or just because you have all the skills, etc., doesn't mean that I'm going to extract them and incorporate them into my own technique, my own style, my own health, etc., how you would say. So I don't have to live by your rules, but best guaranteed I will pick all the best things that your rules abide by, and I will add them into my rules, and then my rules will even be better than yours, because now my rules have all these other techniques and all these other styles that apply to it. Same goes for everything else in my life.
So you would never give up meat? Or would you give up?
Fuck no. Hell no. Hell the fuck no, dude. Hell no. I don't give a fuck. I mean, that's really harsh and that's really aggressive, but people have to realize at the end of the day, that's how we survive, and that's how things have been done since even before we even came to a consciousness of oneself, or even realizing that, oh, we have our own self-thought just out of primal instinct. You know, we've
some things need to eat.
Yeah, you know, we've digested, we've partaken, induced, digested, and whatever other term you want to put on it, because that's what has been a part of life since the beginning of time. And that goes for various cultures. That doesn't go for just American culture. That goes for all cultures and everywhere. But at the same time, you know, everybody has their own picking. Everybody has their own choosing. And I'm not saying that you have to think or you have to choose a certain lifestyle. Maybe start thinking and choosing for your own self based off of these good beneficial ideas, versus just trying to follow one standard or one idea that's going to eventually just make you miserable or probably drive you mad or insane, because you have to live, or you have to be doing things and abiding by a certain fucking standard. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Speaking of ideas that might drive you mad or insane, what is the most fun drug you've ever taken?
I'll probably go back to mushrooms again.
What is the least fun?
You know what? Least fun?
Out of everything you've
No, yeah, least fun, and along with a lot of other shit, is amphetamines, man. Amphetamines. It's yeah, it's not good in any way. No matter how you try to justify it, that stuff's pretty bad.
We got into this earlier, but only in a broad sense. When you want to quit, what motivates you?
Quit what?
In general, when you feel like giving up.
Like
on a in life, on a personal task, in general, when you feel like quitting.
Okay, so you're not talking about quitting a drug, right?
No.
Okay, and you're talking about just quitting when something
It's difficult.
It gets difficult. Now you're saying, however, how have I ever felt like that, or
No.
what was your question again? One more time.
What motivates you?
When I feel like quitting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because you had mentioned that you
Okay,
like, you
okay.
like that you never stop.
I've been told before in my youth and in my past that I have nothing to show for my life, or I have nothing to show for who I am. And this has been told to me by people real close and personal in my life. And when
I feel the sentiment.
And when I and they compared me, which isn't which I'm not trying to take to a racial dynamic, but I was compared to an immigrant. I was compared to somebody who wasn't capable of speaking English. I was compared to somebody who had no former education as far as living in America and having no identity as well. And those individuals are more capable of obtaining newer vehicles, newer homes, providing better for their children. So when I was told this before, that's something that motivates me now, and that's something that keeps me going now, is that I am not going to be compared, if not because that they're bad people to be compared about, but I'm just not going to be compared, first of all, in general, and then second of all, if anybody else can do it, then obviously I can do it myself too, and
Well, yeah.
and um every day when I wake up, there's always that thought in the back of my mind that tells me, are you just going to waste this day, or are you going to make it beneficial to you? And in the long run, it ends up working out regardless of all these doubtful thoughts that I have in the back of my mind. And that is what keeps me going at the end of the day. And then also too, realizing what I'm capable of, because that's what's happened recently when I was presented a few jobs on my own, and realizing that I was capable of doing certain tasks without having somebody there as the main individual or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be led through it. That's something to be said for gaining experience and getting we're all getting older. So, I'm pretty sure this is a straight up answer, but what do you think it's better to have? Or talent, or to be a hard worker?
That answer is split, I believe, in half between both of those. Because if you are a hard worker, then obviously you have talent. So when you are done working, you can also do what you enjoy doing, what people would call a hobby, or whatever you like doing. But if you are if you are a hard worker, all that's going to reflect in your other life, because there's no possible way that you are a hard worker and you are really organized, and then that's not going to go back, and that's going to be something that you don't have in your actual life, unless like there's really a fucked up situation at your house where like nobody is on the same page is it with you. And there's no possible way that somebody who is like that it's at work would allow themselves to live out at in their life like that. I don't know, to each his own.
Yeah.
But if you're a hard worker, you obviously have talent, and
being able to work hard is a talent. Two, right?
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Some people believe that. Yeah. I mean, they said it in Naruto for Rock Lee.
You know, so
he's the genius of hard work.
And what I've seen a lot in a lot of different cultures is just because they're chefs, or just because they work the fields, or just because they do a certain type of trade, they also train in their martial arts craft as well. But then what they do for work is beneficial for that craft that they love doing as a talent, because it's an exercise. It's something that strengthens you. You're not just sitting about all day, you know, and just
Are you in here punching this meat again? It's not a goddamn it's not a punching bag. And they're just like Street Fighter style.
Ruining my jerky, boy.
Yeah. Who's fireballing my food? You just smell cooking food.
Yeah, so
Get out of my shed.
so yeah, that split two ways right there, man.
Oh man, that is a rough set. Okay, now we're coming to the home stretch of it. What is your favorite word?
Consideration.
What is your least favorite word?
Inconsideration.
What turns you on?
The light switch.
What turns you off?
And off of the light switch.
What sound or noise do you love?
Making music when I'm presented with a background beat, and then making music based on that beat, or even just after that.
What sound or noise do you hate?
The alarm clock in the morning, either that or a homeowner waking me up before the time that they knew that I was supposed to communicate with them, because there was a set time and schedule, but they just got ahead of themselves and they just chose to call before then.
What is your favorite curse word?
Scheisse.
What job other than your own would you like to have? Or at least try.
Okay. At least try.
Come on, you. I want you to stay alive. Even though
Fuck it, just to be the boss of my own company.
Be a CEO, like a big league executive?
Work, whatever. But
What
just
job would you never want to do?
going back to working in restaurants.
If you get to heaven, what would you like to hear God say?
What would I like him to say? Is that I'm not gonna blow you guys. He or she is not gonna blow us all to hell.
Could you tell us about your guitar? You came on with a black guitar today.
Yes, I did. It's this piece I have right here.
Are you in a band?
Currently, yes.
Have you ever played live?
No, I haven't ever.
So, since we're at the end of the interview portion, would you play something for the fans after the break?
Sure, why not?
Well, that is Dogman Show, Season 3, Episode 1, Part 2. Ion, Billy Blitzkrieg. Coming up, we have a bonus Part 3, a live musical segment. Something for all you kids at home. Thanks for coming. We'll see you next time.
On the Dogman Show.